All right, so far we've talked about limits that approach from both sides. That's why we've been using the table. All right, so if we were using the table and we were saying what's the limit as x approaches 1, and we started to get numbers from both sides, like 0.78, 0.78, 0.77, you would be able to figure out that from both sides it's approaching 0.79. Okay. Sometimes though, when you have a split in your function, you get what's called a one-sided limit. If it is negative here, it means it's coming from the left. And if it's positive, that means it's coming from the right. Okay, so we're going to look at this graph and we're going to do all of these limits. First one wants to know, what is the limit of f of x if x is coming from the left as x approaches negative 2? So on this one, it's approaching 2. So the limit coming from the left is 2. The limit coming from the right to negative 2 is 0. However, the limit just to negative 2, because these have differing answers, the limit does not exist. The actual value at negative 2 is 0. Okay, number 15. Now we're going to look at this where we're talking about positive 2. As it approaches from the left, it approaches 1, 2, 3, 4. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'm trying to give an education here. Say hi to periods 1 and 4. Hi. I'm recording a video that now everybody in period 1 and 4 are definitely laughing at this point. Oh. Tomorrow, when they watch this video. They can hear us right now? Right now. Oh, cool. So this is like a it's just like a time capsule, yeah. They're going to open it tomorrow.
Is it still recording?
Right now, yes, it's still recording.
Are you going to follow me on Snapchat?
Yeah, I'm not going to crop this out. I'm not going to crop this out.
Okay, we'll be quiet now. We'll keep you left.
Okay. Back to business. If it is approaching from the right,
excuse me,
the limit is also approaching positive 4. So therefore, if it's approaching from both directions, it should be approaching 4. However, there is a hole here, so the actual value of f of 2 is at negative 1. Last one, we're going to go to positive 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. Coming from the left, it approaches 0. Coming from the right, it approaches 0. Coming from either side, it approaches 0. And the actual value of f of 5 is 0. This one you do not have a graph. However, we did do, remember these are called piecewise functions. And remember, you are essentially graphing part of the graph, and then you're going to erase the rest. So I'm going to graph the line, negative x plus 3. So positive 3 is my y-intercept. My slope is negative 1. These are all of the points. It's open, because it's not underlined. And I want all of my x's that are less than 2. So here's less than 2. It's open. Here are all of the x's less than 2. That means you don't really care about this part of the graph. At x is 2, y is 3. The last one is a parabola. We do need to figure out where the intercepts of this parabola are. It's not in vertex form. And in order to figure out what the x-intercepts are, we do have to solve for x. In order to do that, Yeah. Honestly, I'd probably just start, I would put the numbers in. So I would start just any numbers greater than 2. If you didn't do it this way, you'd have to use the quadratic formula, and you would get your 2 values for x, and you'd be able to show that if these were your x values, then that would be the parabola. But let's just take numbers that are greater than 2 and put them in here. So I'm going to do -3 first, plus, or 3, 6 3s, minus 3. So when you do this, you get 6. So when x is 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, y is 6. I'll do 4 real quick. So the opposite of 4 squared plus 6 4s minus 3. So -16 plus 24 minus 3 is 5. So at 4, the value is 5. Do it again. At 5, we should be at -2, or +2, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Okay, so because it is a parabola, it probably looks something like this, right? It's negative, so it goes upside down, so it should look something like this. I only want the values of x that are greater than 2, so I'm going to start here, and then just go down this way. Okay, now we can get the limits. So the limit as x approaches 2 from the left, it should be 1. As it approaches 2 from the right, we should have put 2 in before, so let's do that one real quick. The opposite of 2 squared plus 6 2s minus 3 is 5. So at 2, on this quadratic, it should go to 5. It should be here, so it should look like this. So it should approach 5 from the right, but the actual value of f of 2 is 3. That one's a little bit harder, just because this part right here, your best bet, even though it was a little bit longer, your best bet was to take all the values that are greater than 2. So we used 2, 3, 4, 5, just to get a picture of what the graph would look like.